Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines. Today is Thursday, August 27, and we are here live every morning, except for when I go on vacation, at which point we pre-record. But we are here live or pre-recorded every morning, 10:30 on Facebook, and we share news, comments, stories. See, my flow is not even happening. I've been gone for 2 days. What's going on? This is Coffee and Headlines, I think. Here we are. Where we get together every morning and we talk about headlines, stories, tips, suggestions, ideas on how to best enjoy Puerto Vallarta as an English-speaking community. If you're new to these broadcasts, my name is Paco, and I welcome new people. We all welcome new people and people that join us all the time. But if you're new, let us know that you're new by writing the word new in your comments, and we will give you a proper welcome. As you well know, I was on vacation for a couple of days. I went to San Sebastián del Oeste, and it was so wonderful. It was just great. I had not been to San Sebastián for over 6 to 8 months, and that was only to go for the day with a friend for lunch, and I had not stayed at San Sebastián overnight for well over a year and a half, and it's easy to forget how wonderful a getaway it is. And I took a lot of photos and I took a lot of videos to share with you, because if you haven't visited San Sebastián del Oeste, or maybe if you've only been there for the day, but you have not spent the night, let me tell you, San Sebastián is just absolutely dreamy. It is a great place to visit. It has its quirks, and there are things that everybody should know on your first trip ever, and I will be putting together a few pointers. This time around, I was traveling with dear friends, some of whom I had never traveled with before, and that is always a fascinating experience. They say you get to know your friends when you travel together. And then, of course, I was traveling with people that had not ever been to San Sebastián del Oeste before. So it is always wonderful to see a location or a place or a something through the eyes of somebody that is seeing it for the first time. I've had a chance to take a look at most of your comments and suggestions for the 2 pre-recorded editions that I left behind for you to enjoy. And I'm very, very grateful that you enjoyed both the walking tour of Isla Rio Cuale and that you enjoyed some of the music-related nuggets that I left for you to enjoy. Music, as you know, is truly, truly important to me. But enough about that. Let me take a quick look at your comments this morning. If you have specific questions that you would like for us to address, please remember to write, to put the letter Q before your questions. Otherwise, we will pretty much assume that you're having a nice conversation amongst yourselves, and that is always wonderful. Great to see so many of you. Oh, Paul is in town. Welcome to Puerto Vallarta, Paul. I'm so glad that you're here. Wherever you're staying this time, I hope you got a good welcome, and I hope you are enjoying your time in Puerto Vallarta. Great to see hellos from nearby, like Raymond, who's here in Versalles next door, and Kathy, who's all the way in in Oakland. It's great to see you all. Michael, I am glad that you enjoyed the music related broadcast because you're a musician, of course. Logan, I missed you. I wish you could have come on the trip with us. We had a really, really good time. So many of you are here. And of course, today we continue with our news, which include today a nice, funny confusion among hotel owners as to what is the percentage of guests that you are allowed to have. We are also going to look at some of the weather, which is getting really wet and rainy. We have news about venues opening, theaters opening in Mexico City, and a new performance venue that is opening in Puerto Vallarta. So we're going to get to that in a second. Let me very quickly take a quick look at Jorge. I'm so glad that you're here. Well, you know where it is. You know where to find it. It's a great place to enjoy. Oh, that's great news. I am so glad. I am so very glad. I hope you're doing okay, Tapia. I hope that your health is good, and I hope that you're going to be able to come back to Puerto Vallarta sometime soon. Um, um, Kathleen watched the the Bach piece yesterday. It's okay. It's okay if it's not your favorite. The important thing is that you were curious enough to watch it and go and check out the different versions of it. Jorge asks about the weather in San Sebastián del Oeste. This is such an interesting question because when was it? Yesterday? No, the day before yesterday. I wanted to do some afternoon footage, and the fog set in, and I posted some photos, and some of the remarks that the reactions that I got to the photos led me to believe that you thought we were freezing. We were not. We were walking out and about on shorts and a t-shirt while we were surrounded by fog. This is the way it is. I brought a light jacket. I never had to wear it, although in the evenings it gets a little cooler this time of year. But the weather was just fantastic. The air was clean, no humidity. People were careful with their face masks. I mean, it was just a wonderful time. Mark Hartman, my favorite piano player, who's not here and hopefully will come back soon. It's great to see you. Did I get to Jardín Nebulosa? Yeah. Jardín Nebulosa is absolutely beautiful, stunning, eclectic, sophisticated, chic. And I love Jardín Nebulosa. It's the new fancy restaurant in San Sebastián del Oeste. My only issue with Jardín Nebulosa has to do with the fact that you enter Jardín Nebulosa and you feel like you could be in any large city. You know, it's a fantastic restaurant. Don't get me wrong. I would go back again. I would enjoy a meal there, and I would enjoy their craft beers are fantastic. But somehow it is so elegant and so sophisticated, it seems somewhat out of place in San Sebastián del Oeste, but it was wonderful. We had interesting food, and I took photos and video, and I'll be sharing them as soon as I have a chance, which will be probably during the weekend. Pancho, I am so sorry to hear about this too. Sergio, the owner of Mole de Jovita, passed away unexpectedly recently. I understand that he had a heart attack and then there was some internal bleeding. I am not entirely sure about what propelled this, but he was so very young and such a wonderful man, such an important member of the community. And he left behind a lot of good memories for those that were close friends of his. It is very, very sad to hear this news. I also heard that an acquaintance of mine, a friend actually, has both COVID and dengue. So it is always sad to get these news, but all we can do, I think, is to keep these people in our memories, because as long as they live in our memories, they remain alive. And for the rest of us, you know, living every day in the best possible way and making sure that every day and every moment counts, I think it's the best we can do, particularly now. Anyhow, it is a good time, I believe, to get started with the news, so we might as well do that. Here goes the news music. So, how many guests can you have in your Puerto Vallarta hotel? It depends on who you ask. If you remember, last week we had talked about the fact that apparently the Hotel Motel Association was saying, well, nobody let us know that during the weekends we could have more people. Well, it turns out that was not the case. Apparently, it was Contralinea that reported they had an interview with Susana Rodriguez Mejia, who is the director of beach tourism, and it was her, it was she, it was her, it was Susana. There you go. It was Susana who said that hotels can have 50% occupation during weekends, but that information was contradicted by the Secretary of Turismo, Hernan Rallis, who said that there is no such thing as hotels being able to have a 50% occupancy just yet. It is being analyzed by the Health Council for the state, but they have not emitted any kind of official notice to that effect. And the conversation that I was having with some friends was, it's so weird that they don't seem to update as efficiently as before. Well, they had nothing to update. So apparently somebody decided that hotels can have more than 25 or 30% guests, and that is not the case. At the same time that we get that news, the hotels in Riviera Nayarit received a watch it letter from the Office of Civil Protection saying you can't have people in your beaches. The beaches are closed. And apparently this memo was sent at the same time on Tuesday when there was this clarification of the number of guests that you can have in hotels here in Puerto Vallarta. Apparently, things are getting a little bit out of hand in the state of Nayarit as far as guests and tourists are concerned. People are going to the beach even though they're not supposed to. So the Civil Protection Department got in touch with the hotel saying, you guys just help us out a little bit here. So that is the way things stand at the present moment. Meanwhile, in Puerto Vallarta, I'm reading that the local police is still riding or operating under zero tolerance mode, going around the city, visiting plazas and open spaces and sports centers, making sure that people continue to respect the safety guidelines that we already know, which is, keeping a safe distance, keeping your face mask on, and only being out for only for what is absolutely necessary. There are some good news, though. I checked on the Facebook page for the governor, and the governor says, and I was able to confirm this in another news source, that work has begun on the laterals in Avenida Francisco Medina Ascencio, which is Puerto Vallarta's main throughway, and they're going to start working on the laterals between Fluvial Avenue, which is where La Isla is, all the way down to the beginning of the Libramiento. The laterals will be repaved with what they call hydraulic concrete, and they will add a bicycle path to them and places for people to walk. And this is going to be, going on for quite some time because it is a total of 1,600 meters or 1.6 kilometers. So it'll be nice to see how this project begins unfolding. We also learned this morning that restaurants did not recover entirely during the summer. They need more clients, they say. Of course they do. Well, everybody in Puerto Vallarta, I think, needs more clients. This particular news note says that sales in the local restaurant sector increased to 45% during the few weeks that the summer season lasted. Apparently, they've decided that summer season is over. I don't know exactly when they start fall season, but I think we're still in the middle of summer as far as I'm concerned. What they're hoping is obviously that more of us, or many of us, or as much as we can, that we go out and support our restaurants, and this is something that we talked about before. If you have a few favorite restaurants that you love and you're able and willing to support, I am sure that restaurants and ice cream shops like Licks and all kinds of businesses in town can use our patronage. Going back to San Sebastian for a moment, I know, and I spoke with several hotel owners, they're getting a lot of people and reservations during the weekend. So our group was very happy that we were able to be there during the early part of the week where they would not have had any kind of income or revenue. And we were very, very happy to be able to contribute to that. Let me take a quick look at your comments before we move on to the weather and a couple of other things. What is a kinetic cannon? What is a kinetic cannon? Is that for me, Sean? Did I say kinetic cannon at some point? Please let me know, because I don't know that I've ever heard of such a thing. Oh, something else I really appreciated that you guys did. You're such a great community. You really are, because when on the Tuesday broadcast, somebody said new, and some of you took the time to welcome this person. I really appreciated that. Thank you so very much. Da 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 da. Comments, many comments. No specific questions. Kinetic Cannons are a young couple from Texas who do about a 30-minute show about living in PV. Oh, I've never seen that. I'm going to look for it, definitely, just to see what that is about. Thank you so much for mentioning that. What did you guys do while I was gone? If anybody did anything fun, please let me know. They're bloggers. Okay, I will definitely look for them in YouTube just to see what they're up to. Meanwhile, let us take a quick look at the weather, which has been very outspoken these days. And that is not the weather's, is it? Let me see. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much. Yes, the weather says somebody pissed off the rain gods, and it is raining quite a bit, or it will be raining quite a bit. Right now it's 26 degrees Celsius, feels like 30 degrees. It's 78 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a little cooler than in the past few days because of all the activity going on in the Pacific Ocean. We have a 37% chance of rain, and the weather forecast didn't mean to do that. Hold on. I didn't mean to do that. The weather forecast for today looks like it's going to be rainy and humid throughout the day. Same thing for tomorrow. And Saturday, it'll be humid and partly cloudy through the day. And I think it's easy to see what's going on. We have a new hurricane in the house. And this hurricane is called Hernan. Not Hernan, it's called Hernan. Let me show you the news item that I have about him. Hernan is generating a lot of rain in 8 states and Mexico City, with high waves 3 to 5 meters high in the coasts of Nayarit, Jalisco, and Colima. If we look at the live weather map, we can see that there he is. Huracan Hernan doing what it's doing. There was this other one that made landfall in the United States, and I was checking out some headlines about this yesterday. I hope everybody is okay. And back here, Hernan seems to be moving upward, and I think we're going to get some rain, but it has not been announced that this has become a hurricane. Let us hope that it doesn't, because we definitely don't want any of that going on. Some good rain, absolutely, but definitely not a hurricane. Moving on to other news items, you know that the Visit Mexico website has been down because of ownership issues and so forth and so on. It is nice to see that this website is up and running again. I haven't had a chance to check it out to see what it is like, or if it's easy to find how they're promoting us and so forth and so on. But it is good to know that it is available to others. Let me take a quick look at your. I saw a question here. Has there been much localized flooding? Not that I'm aware of, thank goodness. But whenever we have uh, this kind of weather, we can see that there's a lot of flooding that can definitely go on. Um, I caught some headlines from Mexico City showing that theaters are reopening today, or rather, they're able to start looking at their sanitary measures. Just to give you a sense of what that looks like, in Mexico City, theaters will only be allowed. You will only be allowed in if you keep 1.5 meters distance between each person that is present, and you have to wear a face mask throughout every performance. Performances cannot be more than an hour and a half. You won't be able to bring food inside of the theaters. There will be no printed programs, and most sales will have to be through internet. And there has to be a distance between 3 meters between the cast and the audience. And audience and cast members cannot be closer to 1.5 meters one from one another. So there goes that wonderful loving hugging kiss scene in your play. So there's all kinds of restrictions going on in Mexico City for theaters to reopen. And this other headline about the same issue has to do with producers and directors that say, this is for us, it's not like we're going to start showing plays immediately. It's more like our first call to start prepping the theaters to make sure that we are prepared to resume our performances. We've looked at these numbers before, and we know that for a large theater production, it's difficult to have any kind of profit if you only allow a small percentage of people into your play. So we wish them well, and we wish them patience. Of course, theaters have not been able to do anything for almost 6 months now. Meanwhile, I learned through the grapevine, I have friends that are doing auditions for music and singing and shows and this and that and the other. And apparently there is going to be a new performance venue in town, and it's called Los Borrachos, or Jesse James, or Jesse James Los Borrachos. This is located on Francisco y Madero Street, right around the corner from Insurgentes. And it's a 3-story venue. And if we look at their about page, if I recall reading something to the effect that the venue has 3 stories. First story is, I don't find where I read this, but I was looking at their page a little while ago, and they have a 3-story operation. The first floor is a restaurant, second floor is more of a lounge, and the third floor is going to be a performance space. I have no news as to when they intend to open or who's going to perform there, but they've been posting these videos on Facebook showing that there are people rehearsing. There's a new consul, United States consul in Guadalajara. Her name is Elisa Al-Laham. In case you're doing anything with U.S. consulate in Guadalajara, she has just started a 3-year position as a consul. She has been involved in working with in the Middle East. I read she has been worked in Jordan, China, Taiwan. I cannot even say my country names. Jordan, China, Taiwan, Egypt, India, and Israel, and she is going to be the new consul in Guadalajara in case you're having to do any paperwork over there. And the last 2 headlines for today have to do with the Taco Chronicles. Taco Chronicles is launching. It's launching on September 15th, the second season, and they have a trailer. But I will leave you the trailer with English subtitles so that you can take a look at them. So let me get back to my main screen so that I can see if there are any other important questions or comments from you. Yes, there's a lot of confusion. I suppose this has to do with the hotel situation, whether they can do what they can do or not. So, again, all we wish is for more clarity, and of course, all we wish is for people to continue to observe guidelines, which is the only thing that is going to help us continue opening successfully here and in Nayarit and elsewhere, for that matter. Is Playa Los Arcos being remodeled? If you mean the rest of the hotel, yes, they've been working on their restaurant, their beachfront restaurant, for some time. I don't know if it's finished or not. Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. Question, has it not? We've answered that question already. Paco, I hope you've registered your Facebook page and my YouTube channel. Was prohibited from using our... Yes, this happens a lot. Thank you very much for that, Jorge. I am well taken care of. And ultimately, we've talked about this before. Whenever somebody fails to register their trade name or their Facebook page or their website, it's always problematic for many. I believe that's what the folks at local power. Yes. It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a challenge. Well, performance venues and everything is a challenge right now. I imagine that's what you're referring to, Logan. I don't know exactly what plans the other venues, Act Two, The Palm, and Encanto have. I haven't heard anything, but ultimately it is still August. Usually the venues don't start making announcements until later on. I mean, we usually don't start hearing from them until September, late October. That's when they start mentioning things. For those of us that are in the know, we start hearing people saying, well, so-and-so is not going to be performing here, is going to be performing there. I mean, this is a time of year in which deals are made between the venue owners and the performers to see who's happy with whom and who's going to perform where. And, we'll just have to wait and see. We hope that all the venues are going to do well. Thanks for the good wishes, Mark. The trip was everything I wanted it to be, but I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be back with Luna, who sat here for a little while and then decided to go about her business. She was very happy to see me yesterday. I came in at about 5 o'clock and lay down in bed at about 6 p.m. and I stayed there pretty much. Oh my God, Natalie. It's so good to hear from you, Natalie, because I held on to all those photos and that wonderful interview that I did of your beautiful space. For those of you that don't know Natalie is Art Vallarta, and Art Vallarta is this amazing space where there are arts and crafts classes, and they have a venue. And Natalie, I want to revisit with you. I want to know that you're okay. I want to know what your plans are. So please drop me a line, or let's get connected. Let's get together, because we put together such a beautiful walking tour just before the pandemic began, and unfortunately it became not very useful to put it out at that time. So I would love to go back and visit your space and find out what you have planned, and I wish you my very, very best. And yes, I agree with you, Sherry. It's we all love going to see live performances of any kind, and I miss them. I'm sure I'm not the only one, and hopefully we will be able to see some sense of normalcy in that regard coming up soon. Again, I think we've reached the end of today's broadcast. I'm very, very happy to be back. I have a lot of work on my plate because I have to finish editing the Las Animas footage that I have, and of course I want to put together a nice piece for San Sebastian so you can get to know it better. And we're going to be reporting on how to travel to budget Mexican hotels and what is good to bring that you may not be thinking about. So there's a lot of work. There's a lot of things to be done to continue creating wonderful connections among ourselves and wonderful connections with the destination. So I hope you have a great Thursday. I hope you will stay happy, stay calm, stay well fed, stay happy. I already said happy. Stay kind, stay in touch. And as always, thank you so much for being a part of this community. Thank you for helping me keep it productive, constructive, helpful, inspiring, friendly, and worth returning to. That means a lot to me. Have a great day, and I'll see you again soon.